What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of Nasdaq100 analysis, and we're going to pick up from where we left off last week. Okay, we're just going to get straight into it. Now, before we do that, I believe the content I'm going to be sharing with you today you're going to find super useful, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like. All right, so with that covered, we're going to get straight into the business of the day. So first things first is we're going to separate last week away from week just gone, which would have been Monday the 10th. So all of this here was week commencing Monday the 10th, and we need to separate that because we're going to find the weekly high and the weekly low of this particular move right now. All right, there was massive opportunities in here, okay, especially based around weekly lows and weekly highs. So if you spotted that, you could have taken advantage of that opportunity when it presented itself. So first things first, let's just bring in the separator real quick, and then let's just separate the 2 weeks apart, the weeks apart. So we're going to go from Monday. So let's lock that in place, right? And then that week on a Monday, the previous week on a Friday, I mentioned this area over here is a weekly high and this area over here is a weekly low. And due to how the trend was looking, so the trend that I had drawn out, which was this trend line over here, followed by this trend line over here, okay, I was off the assumption the market was going to break downwards. Market did not break downwards, market continued to push up. But however, because of the guides that I normally use of weekly highs and weekly lows, that would have helped us to determine the correct direction we should have been facing in should we have decided to place a trade. Now, speaking for myself, I literally was not in the NAS last week, so the same as the previous week, I was doing gold, right? I think gold for me right now makes way more sense than doing the Nasdaq100, right? But however, this channel is based around the Nasdaq100, so I see no problems in continuing sharing with you NAS analysis. If the majority of you guys turn around and say, okay, you want to know exactly what I'm doing with gold, then we'll just switch everything around and we start talking about gold and stop talking about NAS. But you guys will be the ones to make the decision on that, right? Now, briefly speaking, all my positions in gold all went great, right? Because I'm using the format of weekly lows and weekly highs. It works on every single chart that there is, all right? It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a silver bullet. So it's not weekly highs, weekly lows, and whenever you get it right, it means it's going to go in that direction. There is fine tuning that you would need to apply, okay? These are the concepts I sometimes talk to you guys about. I do expect you to obviously read between the lines, because what's really important about what it is I'm saying is that A, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice, and this is purely my take on how I navigate the market. So you can kind of treat this video as educational entertainment purposes, okay? So but it is upon you to do some of the research and check the work that I talk about on this channel, because it's only going to make sense to you and it's only going to make you better if you're able to decipher what it is that I'm saying, how I am saying it, and how you're actually able to apply that to your own charts. And most importantly, it also helps you to figure out the charlatans in this game as well. So the guys that are obviously out there talking nonsense all the time, right? They're just showing you things just to get you to come on there. You're able to see if their concept is actually working or not working. Why? Because you know how to do it yourself. And that is the main theme of this channel, helping you guys understand how to navigate these things yourself, so you know if somebody knows what they're talking about or they don't know what it is they're talking about, because ultimately it boils down to your personal interpretation of the market as to how you like to navigate it. There is not a one-way system to do this thing. There is multiple options as to how you can play the market. My particular style is weekly lows and weekly highs. Your particular style could be resistance and support. Somebody else's style could be moving averages, and so on and so forth. But however, by understanding how a market is basically moving, you will know if somebody is telling you what you need to know, if they're actually trying to help you figure this thing out properly, or adding additional insights into how you're overall navigating the market, or if they're just filling your head with nonsense, right? And there's a lot of those guys about, like I'm telling you, there's a lot of them about. So you kind of want to take the time to learn this stuff. Like if you're really serious, then you really want to take the time out to learn this stuff. And once again, it's not going to be easy, but however, it is worth it, right? So with that rant out the way, let's get into the business. So first things first is I'm going to move this weekly high back because we don't really need that anymore, but we're just going to keep that there for future reference. This may come in handy later, okay? And then I'm going to get rid of these levels because they have been violated, so we don't need them anymore either, right? So now what we now need to do is focus on where everything is right now, okay? So right now, as it stands, the weekly low was set for us on Monday. So we got that on a Monday. That's that level right here, right? And then the weekly high was set for us on, you could say it could, let me just zoom in here real quick and just see. Okay, so weekly high was set on a Friday. I will go with the Friday, right? You could argue, say that it was the Thursday, but I'm gonna go with the Friday as the weekly high. All right, so that's the weekly high over here set up. Okay, let's zoom back, right? Okay, so now we're just going to assign some labels to that. So weekly low, we've got it at 18945.0. That's the weekly low. If that level is violated, we're looking for moves in the downward direction, or we're looking for shorts, okay? Obviously, and we need to keep an eye on how that weekly low gets taken out. And then the weekly high, which was set on the Friday, okay, that level is 19682.7. So if that level is violated, and it looks highly likely that it will be violated, okay, then we're going to be looking for positions in an upward trajectory. We're looking for longs, right? Now, in regards to everything that's taking place here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a higher time frame, say the 4 hour, just to give us a bit of an idea as to what we really should be looking out for as market begins its trend for next week. All right, so we know that at some point there is a high probability that price will probably want to come down and do some kind of pullback, right? So let's see if we can figure out where those levels could be. And yeah, let's make sure that obviously if it does come to that level and it doesn't violate anything important, we know how we cannot need to position ourselves. So the first thing that I'm going to lay out are all the fair value gaps that are of importance to us, right? So we have this one here, this on a 4 hour. So this is a relatively good fair value gap that we're picking out right here, right? And there is another one in between that as well. So we have two fair value gaps. Let's change the color of this. Let's make this white. Okay. And then we have another fair value up here, which is like a stack. So we've got two stacked on top of one another, right? And then we have another one up here. So we've got three potential levels of where price may come back into. Okay, so we've got this zone over here, and you'll be able to find that on the 4 hour on the NAS, right? And then we have another two that are stacked one on top of the other down here. So should price make its way down here, okay, and not violate this weekly low, it is fair to assume that you can put in your longs in this position over here to ride it to the upside. Okay, that is an opportunity that you could take if it does present itself. Okay. At the same time, if price does do a pullback and does violate this level over here, okay, if this level is violated with a parabolic move to the downside, it is fair to assume you can join it with shorts and ride it downwards. Okay, it is fair to assume that it does come with its risk, but it is fair to assume that if it closes below this weekly low at this level right here, okay, this level, right? But however, we're getting pin hammers. So what do I mean by pin hammers? I would say pin hammers would be something like this. So let me just draw a little bubble around here. So you see how these candles look? These ones over here, how they look, right? Really small. Let's just zoom in. These candles, right? If it's like that around the weekly low, right, of last week, then it is fair to assume that it ain't gonna be pushing down, but it's gonna be coming up, right? So these are the things that we want to look out for. Hence why I say when the weekly low or weekly high is taken out, you really want to pay attention as to how it was taken out, right? Because if you get it wrong, then essentially it's just going to play around with you. A good example of that situation is something like this area over here, right? Weekly low was taken out with pin hammers, right? So it was really slow moving. Although it went in a direction that we expect it to go, this over here, these types of candles that you see in this area over here, they're a massive warning sign. What kind of candles you want to see is moves like this, where it just blasts straight through, right? And then it starts to slow down. These are the kind of candles that you're looking for. These ones are the ones that you need to exercise caution should they appear, all right? But however, when it did cross, you see it had all those pin hammers, and then it wicked all the way down, only to push all the way back up again, right? Then it wicked all the way back down again, right? So say for example, if you use this level over here, right, weekly high getting taken out, so you took this candle, it pushed all the way up, and you use this level over here as a stop, you would have got taken out on the Thursday of that week. On the Thursday of that week, you would have gotten taken out just because of how this whole thing looked. It was not strong enough. So if there's any recommendations I can make based on what it is that I'm looking at, I would say be careful of how the candles looks when it crosses a weekly low or a weekly high. What's another example of this? Okay, what's another example? Let's see if you can find another one where weekly high was taken out but it was super weak, right? So for example, you see how this weekly high over here was taken out with that push to the upside, and then it started to play around, okay, right? That would have given you all the confidence that you needed to say that, okay, for the following week, chances are it was going to continue to push upwards. Why? Because of this move to the upside. This one move here indicated that this was a strong push to the upside. There was more buyers in this game than there were sellers. All right, so in terms of my overall explanation as to what I've described to you right now, this would be the template that I would say you use to move forward if this concept or style of trading is something that you feel like you could get your head around, right? But ultimately, there is 1,000,001 ways to figure out how to navigate the market. This is just one of them, and this is just the one that I find most effective in terms of how I trade, right? So that's that there. And also as well, if this concept of weekly lows and weekly highs is over your head, I have a whole bunch of backtesting videos, right, that you should be seeing in the thumbnails right about now, that will help you to kind of figure out what style kind of makes sense the most. So in there, I talk about Ikimokus, I talk about moving averages, as well as weekly lows and weekly highs. So you can just run through all those videos, right, and then figure out which one is the best one for you, and then use that to navigate the market. Because like I say, we're all learning in this space, and I would never want to present myself to you all as I'm some kind of expert. I'm navigating this just as much as you are. But however, this is a journey. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And ultimately, we will get there in the end if we continue to do our due diligence as we navigate the market. Another thing is all that I like to share onto all the newbies that are coming into this space, okay? Try to adjust how you think about the market. Is really important, right? Until you figure out your edge, okay, you should trade the smallest lot size possible in terms of you figuring out how to play the market. Now, some would say use a demo account, right? Use a demo account to understand how things move in the market, but don't use a demo account to learn how to trade the market, right? Because there is one part of trading that is super important that you can only ever discover if you're using real life capital, and that is you have to actually put money on the line, right? But however, how you put the money on the line is super important. If you're buying, I don't know, 25 lots, 10 lots, 5 lots, okay, and you're new, right? You might win, but ultimately you're going to lose, right? That's you trying to get rich really quick. Don't do that, right? If you're new, what you want to do is you want to get the lowest possible lot sizes that you absolutely can, right? use that to figure out your style and your edge. And once you hit the level of you're getting more consistency than you are getting losses, then by all means you can begin to increase your lot size. But do not start with a high lot size first. Start very low, figure out your edge, and then from that point, obviously you move forward. So like I say, the backtesting videos are there for you to see. You should be seeing the thumbs about now, right? And with all of that covered, my awesome people from all around the world, I want to thank you for coming over to watch another episode of Nasdaq 100 analysis, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be very, very soon. So for now, this is Pips and Points signing out.